Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 video. For this one we're doing a build order tutorial. So we already have our video out for my standard TvT build, and this is going to be a variant of this build where you have a very easy to take third base. And by very easy, I mean a third base that's behind the planetary at your natural. So either a pocket expand in your main base, or in this case, if your planetary is here, you can see this is safely tucked behind the PF. On this particular map pool, Backwater LE, Neo Violet Square are the two maps that I play that meet this requirement. This is a riskier build. Delayed Ravens, no option to sneak out a siege tank earlier if you need to. Delayed Planetary, even the missile turrets might be slightly delayed. But you get to 3 bases. So most things, it won't really make much of a difference.
Not enough minerals.
Except that you have a much faster third base.
Not enough
so
minerals.
It's mostly just an advantage.
Not
So first
enough
SCV, you're going to
minerals.
queue to your ramp to build a depot. Like
Not
so.
enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Once the depot finishes, you're going to build a barracks.
Not enough minerals.
On most maps, you build that barracks at your ramp. But if you have the opportunity to block a Reaper entrance,
Additional supply depots required.
like on this map, we will do that. Hotkey the barracks. This SCV is going to build our bunker, so we'll just queue him right down there. Bunker's going to be at the front line. At 17 to 23, you're going to queue your next SCV to your natural, like with the previous build, except not your natural. You're actually going to send it to your third base. Natural is going to be a PF. Your other base is going to be an orbital, so you may as well get the orbital first for more money. Because we don't need to PF that early. Building that command center. 16 of 16 on the minerals, and then our last SCV is going to build our depot. In this case, we need to block another Reaper entrance with it. So orbital,
Not
marine,
minerals.
and then bunker. And depot.
Not enough minerals.
Normally we would take gas here, but not with this build. We're going to build saving up for another command center. So no gas geysers being
Command
taken.
center upgrade complete.
We do want to keep that marine production going though. Now this SCV that built the bunker, we're going to bring back to build the command center. So this builds the next command center. And now you can take Gaskas, but actually not quite yet, because this orbital, this command center is about to finish, and we want to make that an orbital. And now you can start taking your gas geysers. And we're even going to take one at the third base. So 3 gas geysers.
Command center upgrade complete.
Populate them. Engineering bay. On SCV on that front bunker once it's full. On hold position auto repair. Whoops, full +1. Send that guy off to his death. At 100 gas, we want to build our factory. Let's populate this.
Not enough minerals.
Keep those mules calling down because they're what going to make us be able to afford the turret ring. Next 100 gas is going into high-sec auto tracking. We're going to hotkey and transfer a bunch of workers to our natural as soon as it finishes. Keep on auto repair because they're going to be our emergency pull in case of cyclones. At this point, we can start on the turret ring.
I can't build here.
So his factory's done, we're going to build starports.
Not enough energy.
150 gas, we're kind of late, we're going to build that planetary. Get that turret ring going.
Complete. Add-on complete.
Planetary's done, you can move the Marines back to the high ground bunker. Tech lab on the starport as soon as it's done. And then Corvid reactor as soon as that's done.
Upgrade complete. Add-on complete.
A little deeper around the time you start Corvid. Maybe another depot. Turret ring should be finishing, so it's time to add your gas geysers.
Not enough energy.
Maybe one more emergency turret here in case of doom drop. Start our next command center. Maybe send out another SCV to take a ninja base, populate those gases. And start the Corvid. Now the Corvid's 2/3 done, we can start the Ravens, I mean. Once you got a couple waves of Ravens out, let's say like you've spent your first 5 and now you can start your structure armor.
Gas. Mineral field
And
depleted.
your armory. So you start with Corvid reactor and high psych auto tracking.
Insufficient Vespine
Then you want a
gas.
lot of Ravens with your gas. And only then do you think of structure armor.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Keep making command centers as you're loading up the minerals, because that is your mineral sink, is just command centers.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Making Ravens. As you're taking more bases, you probably want more starports.
Insufficient
That's about it.
Vespine
I mean,
gas.
you'll be fighting off attacks at the front. I guess we can talk about that on the restart, but
Insufficient Vespine gas.
and adding more command
Upgrade
centers.
complete.
Maybe try to ninja another base. This far corner. Populate the gas. And once you feel comfortable, throw down a fusion core. Because when you're comfortable, you don't have to worry about things except for Thor's transition. And Thor transition, you need battle cruisers.
Unacceptable landing zone.
Then you can start on certain maps taking some forward planetaries.
Command center upgrade complete. Mineral field depleted. Not enough energy. Insufficient Vespine gas.
Keep that Raven production going. Maybe add another starport. Phony minerals again. Add more command centers. Armory done. I want to hotkey that so we can add more
Insufficient
Ravens.
Vespine gas. Vespene gas.
And that's about that. That is this build. So we can go over it one more time and talk about the various attacks that can happen and how it might differ with this build compared to the 2-base opener. So once again, first SCV makes the supply depot. When depot is done, we're making the barracks, either at the ramp or to block a Reaper jump.
Additional supply depots required.
Always block the Reaper jump if you can. Certain maps like Eastwatch, you can't do that. Then 17 and 23, an XSCV is going to build your third base, not your natural, because you want the early orbital, not the early planetary. SCV that makes your barracks is going to build a bunker around the same time. When you're at 16 of 16, your 17th SCV, or whatever, the next SCV, the last one out is going to build your depot. So we go bunker and depot. On this particular map, I'm using depot to also stop a bunker or a Reaper entrance. And then non-stop marine production. This is a mistake. That should be going. Orbitals, marines. And when your bunker's done, it should be around the right time for this SCV to start on the third command center. And now you can start taking gas, but always make this mistake. I take my gas and this finishes and I have no money for orbital. So wait for this to finish. Orbital and then triple gas. Orbital and then gas, gas. And one down here.
Command center upgrade.
So this bunker, compared to the 2-base build, this bunker is their defense is no difference at this point. You have the same Reaper defense, you have the same amount of marines. The barracks still finishes early, the bunker still finishes early. So you're still good against multi-racks barracks or multi-racks marine pressure. That has to kill this bunker, and if you can repair it faster and you can kill it, you're good. Reaper, same idea. You got the same amount of marines. You gotta deal with that. Cyclones will be similar in that you'll have the repairing SCV, and the SCVs on the low ground you can pull. Now, it's important to move those SCVs to the low ground, like right now, right when this barracks is finishing, because this is also, as this barracks is finishing, is also around the time a Cyclone all-in can happen. So you want those SCVs available to be able to pull and quickly pull to this bunker. Now, if the Cyclones take a lot of damage and get by, which is kind of rare for it to, usually it's stuffed or you're dead. But if it's something in between, with the 2-base build, maybe you have a follow-up because you have a completed factory where you can survive. With this build, you probably don't because you haven't even started your factory yet. Or you barely started your factory, I should say. So in that way, it's a little bit weaker versus Cyclones, but no, not really. Kind of survives and dies to the same attack. Yeah, and from here the build just kind of goes back to what it was, right? You're spending your gas on a factory, then high sec auto tracking, then planetary. You want that bunker on the high ground by the time this planetary is done. And then you got to build a turret ring as well. And it's a bigger turret ring because you're covering 3 bases now. But you do have 2 orbitals, so you're bringing in a lot more mineral income anyway. So that kind of balances out. So when it's all said and done, it's quite similar. Your timings are slightly slower. Your turret ring's done a little bit slower. Your ravens are out a little slower. So you have to repair this like say he started a siege push, you'll have to repair this planetary for a lot longer. But those are like slight downsides to the big upside of having 3 bases right away.
We could use some help here.
And you're taking your 4th around the time you normally take your 3rd. Yeah, so once again, finishing the turret ring, well, we tech up to Starport, which is immediately going to build Tech Lab, which is immediately going to start high sec auto tracking. As our turret ring finishes, we're going to go from 3 gas up to 6. Start building that gas bank so we can actually make ravens.
Command center upgrade complete.
But that's still going to leave us a mineral float, and that mineral float is going to be depots, and command centers.
Complete.
This particular map, a sensor tower over here, is a pretty good spot. Gives you all this vision. Even gives you a little bit of vision if he's coming up towards your main. And then as you take this outside base, you can add another sensor tower there, and then you get like kind of full vision between those two. Yeah, make some ravens. Once you made about 5, you can start your armory and your structure armor. Before then, though, I'd save your gas just for the ravens. Don't go straight into structure armor. And then when you feel real comfortable, you add the fusion core as a safety net, as you'll need battle cruisers versus Thors, and that's about the build. There is really no mineral sink with this build, except for more command centers. I don't find a whole lot of use for Marines or Hellbats. They don't seem to do much. If you can multitask well, then Blue Flame Hellions might be good, especially if he's going orbitals at every base. I think most Terrans will, starting at like their 3rd or 4th base, they'll start making planetaries. Usually like their 4th base. But some Terrans it's orbital everywhere, especially when they're facing a turtle style. And against that, no matter what, I think you just build Hellions. It'll draw them all over the map, it'll kill workers, it'll gain you some relief on the defense by forcing him back. Kind of punish that orbital play. But I digress. Yeah, since we don't really have a key mineral sink, kind of like Hellbats are versus Zerg, a mineral sink is actually more command centers, which not only allows us to expand quickly, but it allows us to build more orbitals, because scan's important in this matchup, and to build forward planetary positions. So on this particular map, these high grounds in the middle are really good spots for command centers. You know, place a planetary here, and then the planetary defends turrets, which you can put along the edges here, and then the combination of those two defend a sensor tower, so you can put a sensor tower there and give you great vision in the middle of the map. It also gives you a spot where it's safe for your ravens, so your ravens can hang out in this forward position, giving them a better spot to defend all the different areas you need to defend. Yeah, so that's a fast 3-base build. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.